So friends, we continue to keep an eye on the news and events on the front lines of Ukraine and Russia. And today the security service conducted a special operation in Novorossiysk Bay, where an aerial drone damaged the large amphibious ship Alinogorsky Gornyak. Sources within the security service indicate that the operation was carried out in collaboration with the Navy. As a result of the attack, the Alinogorsky Gornyak sustained a serious breach and is currently unable to perform its combat duties. Therefore, all Russian claims of repelled attacks are fake, and additionally, a video has emerged showing their titled ship being towed by a tugboat. So, in short, their operation was successful. Also, a fierce struggle continues along the entire front line, with both the Ukrainian armed forces and the occupiers vying for advances, as the enemy attempts to storm Ukrainian positions on the Donetsk and Lugansk directions. But before we move on to the frontline overview, I kindly ask you to give this video a like, subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell to stay updated on all the latest news. Let's turn our attention to the Vuhledar direction, where today the occupiers are doing everything to prevent the further advancement of the Ukrainian armed forces. It is critically important for them to prevent any progress towards Volnovakha. This area holds a significant railway junction, and according to experts, the Ukrainian forces had planned to make a breakthrough along the river. While gaining control over the railway would partially disrupt the supply of ammunition to occupiers, currently the Ukrainian armed forces have taken control of Romayorsk, and the occupiers are attempting to dislodge our units from their new positions using a large number of troops. And as a result, the battle here is intensifying for every village, and talk of advancing towards Volnovakha is not yet feasible. In the Zaporizhia direction, the Ukrainian armed forces are actively engaging and eliminating occupant forces both along the front line and in the rear. Another series of explosions occurred in Tokmak yesterday evening, resulting in the detonation of ammunition. Along the front line, there have been no movements reported thus far. However, yesterday morning, on August 3rd, Ukrainian military personnel accompanied representatives of the International Atomic Energy Agency mission to the non-government controlled territory of the Zaporizhia region to visit the occupied Zaporizhia nuclear power plant. And during their journey, sappers successfully detected 2 Russian anti-personnel mines, which were then safely neutralized, ensuring their export safety. And in the Kherson direction, shelling continues, but there are no offensive actions. Ukrainian armed forces are also targeting Russian positions with shelling, but there are no changes along the front line for now. In the Avdiivka direction, the occupiers continue shelling around Avdiivka as the Russians persist in their attempts to encircle and capture the city. Despite daily shelling and offensive action, the city remains under the control of the Ukrainian armed forces, demonstrating successful defense. Further south in Marinka, Ukrainian forces also heroically hold their positions in the heavily damaged city, while the occupiers launch daily offensives without managing to break through, resulting in an unchanged front line. In the Bakhmut direction, the situation remains challenging. The occupiers, in addition to heavy shelling, continue their attacks in 3 directions in Kurdyumivka, Andriivka, and Klishchiivka areas. In the Kreminna and Siversk regions, the occupiers are currently conducting shelling, but they haven't initiated any offensive actions yet, possibly waiting for an opportune moment. They have conducted reconnaissance by combat, advanced a few kilometers, and that's where it stands for now. Also today, there was a clarification of the front line in the direction of Bilogorivka, and as we can see, Russia has deployed its units near the village. However, our forces are holding their defense. And in the Svatovo region, the situation is similar, ongoing shelling over the area, and as reported by the General Staff, the occupiers have achieved partial success in the Novoselivsk area. They managed to advance into the village depth by 300 meters. However, I'm confident that this won't last long and our soldiers will soon be able to drive the Russians out of the village. And in the Dvorichna area, the situation is challenging, with the occupiers shelling the entire territory with artillery in an attempt to weaken as many Ukrainian positions as possible for a potential future advance. However, no attacks are currently reported and the situation remains unchanged. Meanwhile, following the violation of Polish airspace by 2 Belarusian helicopters, Poland has decided to deploy combat helicopters to the border with Belarus. Polish General Marek Sokolowski reported that this action was taken in accordance with the order from Poland's Minister of Defense, Mariusz Błaszczak, for an immediate reinforcement of the Belarusian direction. Sokolowski noted that the helicopters will be stationed at 2 locations on standby in case of emergency events at the border. The helicopters are armed and ready for combat. We have several highly experienced pilots with full flight qualifications, including pilots who have used on-board weaponry and rockets with me in Afghanistan and Iraq. They are seasoned. If anything interferes, they will not hesitate to use their weapons, stated the general. Also, Ukrainian armed forces have confirmed a strike on temporarily occupied Feodosia on the night of August 4th, as stated by Natalia Humenyuk, spokesperson for the Operational Command South. According to her, Feodosia houses a large Russian oil depot, potentially storing significant fuel reserves for the Russian Black Sea Fleet. And today, it was announced that the United States and Ukraine have initiated negotiations on bilateral security commitments, as reported by the U.S. Department of State. Representatives from the U.S. Department of State, Department of Defense, and National Security Council met with their Ukrainian counterparts to begin discussions on long-term security commitments between the two countries. The focus of these bilateral security commitments, as outlined by the State Department, includes the first, ensuring Ukraine has resilient forces capable of defending the country now and defending Russian aggression in the future. The second is supporting and enhancing the effectiveness and transparency of Ukrainian defense institutions and industries. And the third one is backing reform programs that facilitate effective governance necessary for advancing Ukraine's Euro-Atlantic aspiration. And it is reported that the discussions are taking place within the framework of the G7 Joint Declaration on Supporting Ukraine, aimed at formalizing ongoing US support for the Ukrainian state. And that's all from me. Thank you for watching and see you next time. Bye-bye.